Hello, my name is Amanda Enriquez.
And I'm Edgar Martinez.
And today we're going to talk about how technology affects us in both good and bad ways.
I believe that technology affects us in a positive way by providing us with medical technology so we can live longer and healthier lives. Also, it provides us with telephones that help us communicate with the people we love.
Technology also affects us in a negative way because those pieces of technology that we break or you don't utilize, called techno-trash, create largest amount of waste which are very unsafe for the environment.
This was our opinion. Now let's see what the Arlington teachers think. Is technology affecting us in a positive or a negative way?
I think it's affecting us in both ways. I think technology has allowed us to make a lot of advances in a lot of different fields. And it gives us a lot of advantages as opposed to what the previous generations had to work with. But I also think that social media and the way we communicate is kind of a negative thing. I mean, I think sometimes nowadays you walk in a room and kids, instead of just talking to each other or playing or communicating with each other, you'll see them all just kind of like staring at their phones, like we're addicted to this thing that's in front of us. So in that way, I think there are some really good things that technology has brought us and some really bad or negative effects that it's having on our younger people and even our older people. And I think we have to find kind of like a middle ground and get back to some of the old ways we used to communicate with each other.
How do you think people used to deal with technology in the old days?
Back in the old days, when people didn't have cell phones or DVD players or whatever, we would spend a lot more time outside. So if I wanted to hang out with my friends, I had to go over to their houses to find them. We had some video games, but we didn't play them all that much. We didn't have the handheld technology. There were no car phones, there was no internet. It was very different, and it took a lot longer to get communication. I used to write letters and would talk on the phone that's attached to the wall at my mom's house, but you didn't know what you were missing because we didn't know what we would have now.
Venom is an upcoming movie that's being released on October 5th. This is a real thriller for most people that are fans of Spider-Man. Most websites say it's going to have a PG-13 rating, so it could have a fun crossover with the Spider-Man from Homecoming. Though that might come out in 2020 after Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019. Another movie is in October is Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween. It's going to be in the theaters on Friday 12th. Fans of the Goosebumps series will be excited for this blockbuster movie. This movie will be just in time for this Halloween in theaters near you.
Here we have people's favorite games that are coming out. First on the list, we have NBA 2K19. We know this game came out September 11th, but it's everybody's favorite game. Now we have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that's coming out December 7th, which will affect many gamers. Last but not least, we have Battlefield 5 coming out October 19th, and Black Ops 4 beta just ending, and the full game coming out October 12th. We hope you all enjoy all of these games, and we will see you soon.
Welcome to Gator News. My name is Marcos Roque. In 2018, a group of engineers called ForwardX developed a moving electronic suitcase, which they named the Ovis. The Ovis is a programmed suitcase that follows the electronic bracelet that you can wear. The suitcase also has its own charging station. It's also a program to avoid obstacles in its path. If for some reason you lose the suitcase, you can download an app to locate the Ovis in seconds. It's a really neat gadget, so we advise you to go out and get it. The Ovis is very amazing and useful. There is also a manual mode, so if you want to hold it, it will shut off its motion detecting sensor, so you can grab it. So go out and buy it before it runs out. The problem is that it costs $800. It's also a lot of money, and it's not available in much stores, but you can pre-order it online on their own website. Another problem is that the Ovis suitcase is still a prototype, so still might have many problems with the software. it's still a very cool suitcase, so it's better than normal ones. So if you want a suitcase that follows you around, then go get the Ovis. But anyways, that's it for Gator News. See you guys soon.
Hi, I'm Madeline Calcano.
And I'm Alia Rosado.
And we're coming to you from Gator News. Today, we're going to be talking about the catastrophic damage that was caused by the gas explosions on September 13, 2018, and people went back home from the shelters on September 17, 2018. The reason for this was due to a malfunction in the Columbia pipelines. We as a community found a way to rise from the ashes and restore what was damaged.
While this horrible accident was going on, people were generous enough to give donations to others in need. Faculty members and students of the Arlington Middle School were coming together to support their fellow friends, family, and even strangers during this tough time.
In total, there were about 83 houses taken down, including houses in North Andover, South Lawrence.
People had to evacuate their homes, but thankfully they had a shelter to walk into. Many schools were used as shelters, one of them being the Arlington Middle School.
We gathered faculty members and parents to interview about the ongoing event that was going on. People were very touched by the subject, considering how many people lost their homes.
Do you think this disaster made the community stronger?
I do believe this experience made the community stronger. I think this was a very difficult situation for everybody, and I think people came together, and I think in the long run it makes us stronger.
Do you think that us being in a poor community but giving the most help can make an impact on other people?
I think it absolutely makes an impact. I think it highlights what we already know about the city of Lawrence, that it's a great place with great people, and it's set an absolutely very high standard for how people should deal with disaster relief.
Do you think this disaster made the community stronger?
I think, in my view, Lawrence is already a very strong, very resilient city. I think what we saw is just an example of just how strong and resilient the city is. We saw, kids, families, staff from the Arlington, staff from all the other schools, and a bunch of our students all come together to help each other out. So did it make us stronger? It probably made us a little stronger because every obstacle we run into makes us stronger, but Lawrence is already a very resilient city, already a very strong city, and the response we saw to the disaster, I think, is just proof of just how strong this city is. And I think a lot of other surrounding communities really stepped up to help. It's not the stuff that makes it in the news, but in the city that I live in Chelmsford, I traveled all through Chelmsford for about 6 hours on Friday, like the day after it happened, going door to door, just picking up anything that people wanted to donate. And then a couple of people reached out to me and said, well, instead of you driving everywhere, why don't we just collect all of the donations during the farmers market in Chelmsford? And that was just a tremendous outpouring of support for the city. So many people dropped off donations, not just from Chelmsford, but from Westford and from other surrounding communities. And it was just, for me, it gave me the ability to see that not just Lawrence was responding to this, but other communities were stepping up and helping out the city.
How did you experience in this impact?
Well, one of the things that really hit home with me was, a couple of things. One was coming here every day to the shelter and seeing just how our families were impacted in Lawrence. The other thing was coming home every night after volunteering in the city and just seeing how many donations were left off at my house. The steps, the sidewalks, I was picking up donations every night going into my house, and then driving them back into the city the next day at the Lawrence Senior Center. And kind of want to give those guys a shout out too, because the Lawrence Senior Center every day was open collecting donations, and there were so many people volunteering there at the Senior Center. And they were doing a lot of great work, making sure that everything that was collected was getting to the families that needed it the most.